What amazes me about this film is how real and earned these interactions feel. The dialogue, the storytelling, it feels so grounded and real. Like these characters are real people. That is an incredible feat, especially for the time that this came out. Secret of Nimh is a very grounded and mystical film, blending technology and even aspects of the supernatural together, creating a grounded but powerful experience. Miss Brisby is a character who lost someone important to them. She is now alone. She has to travel on her own. The haunting depths they go through to tell this story is unbelievable. They make the characters so real and their moments so earned. The world is fully realized and the characters feel believable, tackling profound concepts, especially already in the very beginning, already conquering the atmosphere of the moment. This movie is such a dark yet profound atmosphere. You can tell in the very beginning of the movie the characters' use of technology is quite advanced for their species. They're just rats, yet they have all these Ruby Goldberg level of technology. Think about the level of animation it took to create such beautiful technology and movement. This movie has some of the best artistic backgrounds since Bambi, and that movie came out in the 1940s. It's like a classic 1970s animation come to life, and it feels real. The characters feel realized and grounded in a realistic sense, giving the story more atmosphere. But why do they have advanced technology? Well, that's because the rats were originally experimented on at a place called Nimh, which is actually the National Institute of Mental Health, where they experimented on these poor creatures, thus changing the very foundation of their minds, even DNA, making them more intelligent and intellectual based, so they are able to create even technology itself. They even have an underground society full of rats living together, and if you cross the wrong one, they have guards as well, and you definitely don't want to cross them. This movie does a great job of giving realistic characters with a good amount of chemistry. It does a phenomenal job of grounding you into its world, of pulling you into its atmosphere. It came from an era almost seemingly lost, but not forgotten, feeling like a 70s era movie created in the 80s where animation was changing with some of the best artistic direction, backgrounds, and animation ever put to film. Every frame of animation has so much life and intensity put into it. They did a fantastic job of fleshing out this world and atmosphere, using incredible animation from traditional cell animation. Fun fact, did you know that Don Bluth used to use an animation software that mimics cell animation? It is known as Flipbook Cell Animation Studios. Shout out, I used this for quite a while myself. I switched to animation papers. However, they have a very traditional based system and you will find it in no other animation software for the most part. And it looks a lot like paper as well. The plot is really realistic, atmospheric, and incredible, and very effective. Basically, Miss Brisby has lost someone close to her. Her son eventually becomes sick, and she goes outside of her home to find a cure for his illness. The farmer there is going to plow the field soon, so she has to move her family out of her cinder block house before the farmer plows their home. It's dark, and the journey is quite dark as well, with danger at every turn. Every moment is full of mystical depths. These deep caves and environments animated to near perfection. This dark, intense film has some mature moments and themes. She has to move her family out before the farmer plows the field. However, her son Timothy has fallen ill, so she has to find a cure for his illness, so they move safely out. When I first saw this years ago, I couldn't believe the atmosphere, the tone. I was right there on the edge of my seat when he was sick, wondering how and when would he ever get a cure. The movie captivated you that well, maintaining the engagement of the situation. It's really captivating, and it shows some of the best storytelling in film history. With animation that is on par with the legendary era of the 70s, look at the frames of animation. Look at how hard they worked on this movie. Look at these backgrounds. Wow, talk about engaging and immersing you into the entirety of the experience. When she journeys to the Great Owl, the artistic and atmospheric backgrounds, the intense and visual animation techniques, the dark atmosphere this movie conveys. This journey she goes on is amazing yet dark and terrifying. It's outstanding. And when she finally gets there, after all the stuff that goes down and everything, she meets the Great Owl, a wise, huge owl who shockingly knew her husband, Jonathan Brisby. You see, the movie gives just enough context about what happened to Jonathan, her husband, that you actually have enough information to fill in the gaps of what happened prior with the Rats of Nimh. So the overall lore and backstory is just as full of flavor as the main story, making the story's world all the more captivating. So she visits the Great Owl and they speak. He informs not only did he know Jonathan, but he also knows the Rats of Nimh, the ones who escaped after the experiment. Jonathan was the one who helped them escape. He unraveled the lock. Nicodemus eventually states, when he tells her about the rats, she has to visit them and Nicodemus to save her son. You'll notice something about their society and Nicodemus, why everything is so realistic and grounded. But Nicodemus can move objects with his mind and they have advanced technology, but there are supernatural elements hidden underneath. Why? The reason is because with advancements of technology, sometimes even the supernatural can show its face. It even matches the themes of technology, societies, and sharing tech with other societies instead of hogging it, which they even debated about in a political scene. The fact that they blend technology and the supernatural perfectly captures and matches the profound themes this film tackles really well. They even had a great scene where the rats are arguing and debating about the more primal rats to see if they are willing to share their society and technological achievements. It's outstanding storytelling. Realistic, grounded, profound, dark, mystical, mysterious characters with backstories and development that's well written and adds to their character. Justin, one of the best characters in the film, has some pretty decent chemistry with the characters on screen and protects and helps Miss Brisby as well during some of the most intense yet engaging moments. He's a great character, and there are plenty like Nicodemus, the Crow, the Great Owl, and of course Miss Brisby. These characters are so fleshed out and so well written. The acting is outstanding and they add to the character very well. Eventually, Nicodemus tells the story of what really happened in Nimh. They were a part of a scientific experiment at a mental health facility known as Nimh, which stands for National Institute of Mental Health. One day, after injected with a fluid that altered their minds and DNA, as a scientific experiment, the rats were able to read near the lock and could unravel it. The level of realism, immersion, and storytelling is so unprecedented for its time, and it makes it stand up especially today. This is a landmark moment in cinematic history, some of the greatest storytelling ever put to a film. They eventually escape, but there's an issue. The fan vent went off, killing them, leading the last of the facility, even having a moment where Brisby sees him one last time. Jonathan was a hero, giving you just enough context about what happened before. There could have even been a prequel with this much context. That's how fleshed out this world is. The Rats of Nimh would go on to understand complex algorithms of technology and electricity and even use the electricity of humans. They eventually agreed to moving Mrs. Brisby's home away from the farmer's plow. During this time, the rats debate about taking the electricity from humans and whether they should share their technology with others or stay secluded. It's captivating, and it shows such a great sense of world building. Jenner decides to take matters into his own hands. When he realizes that the political establishment is being run by fools, he doesn't believe in their ideas, so he lies to Brisby about moving them when really he had his own motives. He wants to kill Nicodemus, thus seizing power for himself the whole time. When Brisby warns everyone to leave, he goes against her, but he sees that Brisby has the stone that Nicodemus left. There goes his true opportunity for true power. It's really good, and it's some of the most captivating scenes in the entire movie. He even fights Justin in this extraordinarily well animated fight with great action and amazing animation. The stone that Nicodemus left before he was killed was a powerful stone. It shows the other half of the concepts this movie tackles. It isn't just grounded, it's also supernatural, and this shows big time as the stone means a lot more than just decoration, as its supernatural ability goes beyond their technology, and Miss Brisby wielding it saves her family. It even emphasizes Mrs. Brisby's role throughout the journey, as she had the willpower to press on this mystical and dark journey and finally wielded the stone, and she saves her family. It's one of the most earned and brilliant, powerful moments in cinematic history. Man, after all that, everything that went down, this was so earned and so powerful. This movie then ends on a strong note. This movie is one of the most well-written, well-directed cinematic pieces of brilliance ever made. Don Bluth, you are legendary. And well, this was Tarragon, and thank you for watching.